Hey everyone, this is the second part of our hunt this fall. Dad and I ended up flying north to do some caribou hunting while our buddies floated one of the rivers. The biologist had said the caribou herd hadn't made it that far south yet, so we flew up and hunted a little further north in the caribou migration. First day we landed, got the tent set up, and 2 hours later, here comes this nice herd, about 130, 150 animals. Some very impressive
It's like
antlers.
three of them kind of right in
Unfortunately,
there.
it's
One
the
real
day we
nice one.
landed, so we weren't able to harvest any of the nice bulls in this herd, and there were some monsters. So it was tempting, but not worth it to have the get in that kind of trouble. But like I said, there are some beautiful caribou in the herd and some big antlers. Anyway, they left us a nice trail as a reminder that they had been through. Um, and we went to bed the first night knowing that we were in a pretty good caribou area and excited to go hunting the next day. On the first legal day of hunting, we saw about 80 caribou total. Um, Saw some pretty nice bulls, and unfortunately we had passed on them. We, after seeing the monsters the day before, were feeling pretty confident and decided on passing on some of these, and we probably shouldn't have in hindsight. Um, like I said, some beautiful bulls the second day as well. I would highly recommend, if you're caribou hunting and you have a couple tags, to shoot a nice bull first chance you get, and then hunt for a monster after that. And unfortunately, we didn't. In hindsight's 2020. So anyway, we had a pretty good location here. We could see about a mile out, and caribou would come over the hill and just work their way to us. It took about 10 minutes to cover that mile, and they would. I think everyone we saw came above this lake. Yeah, there was a couple beauties we passed on and shouldn't have. That's for sure. So they'd come up past us here. We set up about 100 yards above the tent, and most of them went between us and the tent. Few of them would go above us, and then there was a wood line up about 200 yards above us, so we were confident that anything we saw we'd be able to make a shot on. So we set up a blind and sat behind that most of the time when the wind was bad. We kind of moved over just to take a better look at these. Um, you'll see some footage of behind the blind here in just a little bit. So, like I said, the second day we saw about 80 bulls,
Ooh,
and they, or sorry, 80 caribou, and they just kind of would meander past the tent. Yep, wouldn't have been too far of a carry on any of these to get the meat to where the plane would pick it up, but we passed. We did have a substantial wind most days, between 20 and 35 mile an hour sustained winds, and so tucking in behind the shelter was nice, and we would cook up some hot chocolate and cook from behind the shelter. So that worked out pretty well for us. So on the third day, we saw 4 caribou. I believe it was 2 bulls and 2 cows. Or a cow and a calf. Yeah, so this is our little windbreak / blind we had set up. mainly to keep the wind off of us because it was just blowing like crazy. And we would make hot chocolate, stay warm with that. It was definitely the most sitting I've done in a long time. Then on day 4, we had one bull come by, and he came by early in the morning. I was just getting out of the tent for the second time and spotted him coming and had Dad get out, but nothing to worry about. Cooked up some moose steaks from my bull moose I got a little earlier in the trip. And then on the last day of the hunt, we had one lone bull come up at about noon. So plane was supposed to be in about 3 p.m. So we decided this would be Dad's first caribou, and Dad made a good shot on him with one right in the shoulder. There the work began. We butchered up the caribou then and took it back to camp and got ready for the plane, which ended up getting delayed a day due to weather. So we got to sit around, relax a little bit the last day, and then flew back to Bettles and back to the road system. Unfortunately, after that, we had a few problems, as you'll see in this last picture. You'll have to check out part 3, and we'll talk about that more. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.